Thank you, Bob. I was having a bit of a think about what goes into building a super home. And I guess you're all in the industry, you're either considering doing something or you work in this industry and you live and breathe building homes well. Well, I want to take you back to 1994. If I could think about how we've come to build this home, I'd go back that far, 30 years. 1994, my family owned a property up in the Maruia Valley, north of Springs Junction. And it was there that we raised our two boys in the outdoors, hunting and fishing and being out in the wilderness. It was, I guess, a development of creativity and exploration that we as a family embarked on back then. Now, fast forward to 2020, and we were thinking as a family, it'd be kind of cool if we could, because we like each other, and we kind of do stuff together. Let's find a place that kind of suits us all. I have a building yard requirement, and you guys, need properties and houses and stuff. So we stumbled on this place here in Aynsley, and no one seemed to want it. It sat empty for a year. And after the earthquakes of 2011, all the rich people ran screaming with their hands in the air and didn't want to know about it. So there it was, and we bought it. We had to kind of stretch and skimp a bit, and both my boys, Joel, my youngest, and Dan, the eldest, and Hayley and Eve, their partner, they stretched a bit, borrowed a bit off some grandparents and pooled resources, and we bought into this property together. And so Aynsley became a project. Daniel and Hayley built next door a high performance home with triple glazed windows, and it's a kind of a cool little house, and that was the starting one, and then we've done this one. It's a super home in the sense that it's a high performance, but it's a low cost home. It's a super home in the terms of its high design aspiration, but it had low waste. It's highly functional, but low environmental impact. It's maximised the space, but it actually has a small footprint. And so there were a number of things that went into it, and Jared, our designer, who's floating around here somewhere, Jared, did a great job of coming up with a plan that we didn't even like. Thank you, Jared. We'd sort of said to him we want something that's mid-century modern. We didn't really know what we're talking about. Jared came up with a mid-century modern design that was awesome, and we didn't like it. But it grew on us to the point where we thought, we like this. This is quirky and different. And a bit startling, but kind of cool, and it works. So thank you, Jared. Thank you for frightening us. It has when you look at the high performance things that make it a super home, so it has a thermally isolated floor sleeve. It has above code insulation, walls and ceiling. It has triple glazed UPVC joinery inset mid into the wall. And these are some of the principles that, if you're in the industry, you'll know that these are some of the things that we're trying to tick off as a super home. It has attention to air tightness, and it has a heat recovery ventilation system. And those are sort of the key components, I guess, if you're going to build a super home. We've added things like 7 kilowatts of PV solar on the roof and in-slab heating just to keep our costs low in terms of our running costs. But one of the main emphasis on this home was, and to us it's a humble home. It's humble because it's kind of recycled, and it may not seem that way, but when you look around, if you understand these things, I'll tell you about some things. The cedar cladding was a tree that we got milled and got the cedar cladding made. It had a bunch of repurposed materials. The roofing was 5-year-old near new colour steel roofing that was 1/10 of the cost of new roofing. All the interior doors are second hand. The stairs, the balustrade came out of the old Aynsley house, which was up on the next site when we demolished it. We recycled the weatherboards and made them into balustrades for the stair. The light fittings were repurposed, the bath and vanity, and the list goes on and on. I could keep on naming the things, but so we had an aspiration to build a super home, but with a low budget. And we figured we could achieve it because it comes out of that whole creativity, that whole sense of we can do this, let's get into it and do it together. And thank you, Bob, for the Superhome movement, and I guess it's a credible recognition. And there's ways of achieving these things, but this just says we've achieved a standard or we've tried to achieve, we've aimed at a standard that's higher than just what is normal. And I'm always grateful to our sub-trades. We have a strong relationship with them too. My employees, who you'll see them floating around with red tops on, to us, relationship is really key. And I think if we're going to build well, we need to build in relationship. So I guess I could say this in summary. Character builders are great builders. We have great suppliers. And we have great relationships with our sub-trades. But so do most other building companies. And so for me, it is key that there is a whole journey in this thing. And my message, I guess, if I'm to summarise to myself and to others, is do family well. Do the building well, yes, and have good relationships with your subbies and your staff, but do family well. Because the history of our journey, it tells me that a super home performs so much better out of solid relationships. And it's so much more fun doing it together. And so to us, that's why we're proud of this home. Yeah, it's a cool home. Great design. Thank you, Jared. We love living in it, but we love being around our family who want to be around us as well on this property, and that's part of our journey. So thank you.